She kissed a stranger at midnight. Then learned he was the Mafia boss everyone feared. Lena Carter did not believe one kiss could change a life. Not when she was 32, exhausted, underpaid, and raising an autistic little boy alone. But on New Year's Eve, she kissed the wrong man on a hotel rooftop. By morning, the city was whispering his name. Roman DeLuca, the most powerful Mafia boss in New York. And the first man who ever looked at her son like he was not a problem to be solved, but a world worth understanding. Lena had not planned to be beautiful that night. She had planned to be practical. Practical shoes, practical coat, practical expectations. But her younger sister Sophie had other ideas. "You are not wearing black slacks to a New Year's gala," Sophie said. Standing in Lena's tiny bedroom, with a gold dress draped over both arms. "You are 32, not 90. Lena sat on the edge of the bed, still in her work cardigan, hair half pinned, one sock missing. "I am a preschool teacher. I spend my day wiping glue off tables, and explaining why crayons do not go in noses. I do not need a gold dress. You need one tonight, no? You need me to wear one because you work at the hotel and want to prove your sister is not a tragic single mom." Sophie's face softened. "That is not fair," Lena sighed. She knew it was not fair. Sophie had been trying for months to get her out of the apartment, out of the routine, out of the quiet little life that had become so centered around survival, that joy felt irresponsible. Lena looked toward the living room, where her 6-year-old son Eli sat cross-legged on the carpet lining up toy trains by color: blue, green, red, yellow, then blue again. Eli hummed softly as he worked, a pattern only he understood. He was autistic, brilliant with maps, sensitive to sound, uncomfortable with strangers, sometimes nonverbal for hours, sometimes suddenly full of facts about subway routes from cities he had never visited. To Lena, he was not difficult. He was precise. He was tender. He was her whole heart walking around outside her body. Too many men she had dated before. He had been a lot. That was the polite version. The last man had said, "I just don't know if I'm ready for that. That kind of responsibility. That kind of..." As if Eli were a weather warning. As if love came with a return policy. After that, Lena stopped trying. But Sophie had not. "Mom is keeping Eli overnight," Sophie said gently. "One night. You get one night to feel like a woman, instead of a schedule." Lena looked at the gold dress. It was soft, elegant, and completely unreasonable. "I have a date," she said weakly. "Yes. The app guy. His name is Mark." "Fine. Mark the app guy. And if he does not show, you still get champagne, music, and a rooftop view of Manhattan." Lena laughed despite herself. "And if the dress does not zip?" Sophie smiled. "It will." It did. Barely. But when Lena turned toward the mirror, she went still. The woman staring back at her looked familiar and strange. Soft brown hair falling over one shoulder. Warm eyes. Curves she usually hid beneath sweaters. A body she had learned to apologize for, now glowing in gold satin like it had never needed permission. For a moment, Lena saw not a tired mother, not a teacher with overdue bills, not a woman who had been rejected for having a child who needed more patience than most. She saw someone still alive. Sophie stood behind her, eyes shining. "There she is," Lena swallowed. "I look like I'm pretending. We all are. Rich people just do it with better lighting." 2 hours later, Lena stood inside the Grand Aurelia Hotel, wondering if Sophie had been right. The ballroom shimmered with crystal chandeliers, white roses, black marble, and champagne glasses that caught the light like small stars. A string quartet played near the staircase. Women in diamonds laughed behind gloved hands. Men in tuxedos spoke in low voices about money, politics, and things they did not want written down. Lena felt like someone had accidentally delivered her to the wrong story. Sophie, dressed in her black hotel staff uniform, squeezed her hand. "You look stunning." "I look lost." "That too. But beautifully." Lena checked her phone. No message from Mark. He had texted that morning. Can't wait to meet you tonight. Then nothing. No update. No apology. No photo from the lobby. Nothing. She tried not to care. She failed. At 11:30, Sophie was pulled away by a panicked catering manager, leaving Lena near the champagne tower with a half-empty glass and a smile she no longer felt like wearing. She checked her phone again. Still nothing. Of course, Lena put the phone in her clutch and breathed through the sting of humiliation. She had known better. Men liked the idea of a sweet preschool teacher until they understood. The real version came with rent stress, therapy appointments, and a little boy who wore noise-canceling headphones at grocery stores. She turned away from the ballroom and followed a sign toward the rooftop winter garden. Cold air touched her face the moment she stepped outside. The terrace was quieter than the ballroom, enclosed by glass walls and filled with potted evergreens, white lights, and silver heaters glowing in the corners. Beyond the railing, Manhattan stretched beneath the dark sky, bright and endless. Lena walked to the far side, grateful for the quiet. Then she saw him. A man stood near the railing with his back to her. Tall, dark, broad shoulders beneath a black suit that fit like it had been made by someone afraid to disappoint him. The right height. The right build. Mark from the app had dark hair too. Lena's heart lifted before she could stop it. "You are late," she called, trying for playful instead of relief. The man turned, her breath caught. He was not Mark, not even close. Mark's app photo had been handsome in a friendly way. This man was handsome, like a locked door. Sharp cheekbones, dark eyes, a controlled mouth, a faint scar near his jaw. His presence changed the air around him. He looked at Lena for one long second, and she suddenly understood that whatever world he belonged to, it was not hers. "I am," he said. His voice was low, smooth, and touched with something Italian. Lena should have apologized immediately. Instead, champagne nerves and 2 years of loneliness made her reckless. "At least you admit it." A faint line appeared between his brows. "You were waiting for me?" I was starting to think I had been stood up. The man glanced back toward the ballroom doors. Then at her again. Something unreadable moved across his face. "Perhaps I deserved that." That was an odd answer. But Lena was tired of being careful. She stepped beside him at the railing, leaving a polite distance between them. "You look different from your photo." His mouth curved slightly. "So do you. Good different. Or suspicious different." His eyes moved over her face, not her body. That surprised her. "Dangerously different." Lena laughed, and the sound came out more nervous than she wanted. "That is dramatic for a financial consultant." "A financial consultant? That is what you said you were." He was silent for half a beat. Then he said, "Tonight, perhaps I am." Lena shook her head. "You are strange. I have been told worse." Below them, the city hummed. Behind them, voices from the ballroom grew louder as midnight approached. Lena checked her phone. 11:57. 3 minutes. The man noticed. "Do you believe in midnight? In the clock sense?" "Yes, in the magic sense." She looked at the skyline. "I believe in fresh starts because I teach children. Every September, 20 little people walk into my classroom convinced they cannot do something. Write their name, tie their shoes, share blocks, sit still for 7 whole minutes. By June, they have become someone new without realizing it." His expression shifted. "You make it sound holy. Some days it feels like survival. Some days it feels like holy. You are a teacher. Preschool that explains it. Why you speak. As if small things matter." Lena looked at him then. Really looked. Most men smiled politely when she talked about her classroom. Some made jokes about finger paint. Some asked when she planned to do real teaching. This man said nothing like that. He looked as if he had heard something important. The countdown began inside. 10, 9. Voices spilled onto the terrace. 8, 7. The man's gaze stayed on hers. 6. Lena felt the cold air, the champagne, the gold dress, the ache of being seen for the first time and longer than she wanted to admit. 5. You still have not told me your name, she said. Roman 3. I'm Lena too. He stepped closer. Not enough to crowd her. Enough to ask without words. 1. The hotel erupted behind them. Happy New Year. Fireworks burst above the city in silver and gold. Lena should have stepped away. Instead, she kissed him. Or maybe he kissed her. Later, she would never be completely sure. She only knew that his hand lifted to her cheek with impossible gentleness, as if he had touched many dangerous things in his life, but not many precious ones. The kiss was not wild, it was worse. It was careful, deep, devastatingly present. For 10 seconds, Lena Carter was not worried about bills, therapy forms, single motherhood, or the man who had failed to show up. For 10 seconds, she was only a woman being kissed beneath fireworks by a stranger who made the world go quiet. Then someone behind them said, "Mr. DeLuca." The man went still, not startled, still. That was different. Lena pulled back. A gray-haired man in a black suit stood near the terrace doors. Expression controlled, eyes sharp. "Forgive me," he said. "Your car is ready." Lena looked from the man to Roman. Mr. DeLuca. Roman's face changed in the smallest way. Regret. That was what she saw. Not embarrassment, not guilt, regret. "I should go," he said. "Wait, you are not Mark." "No." She closed her eyes. "Oh my God, I tried to tell you." "No, you did not." "I considered it." "That is not the same thing." The corner of his mouth moved, but the smile did not fully arrive. "No, it is not." Humiliation flooded her. She had kissed a complete stranger because she mistook him for a date who never came. "I am sorry," she said quickly. "This is embarrassing. I should go inside, Lena." The way he said her name stopped her. Soft, careful, like he did not want it to leave. It was not embarrassing. She looked at him. Then what was it? For the first time, Roman DeLuca looked uncertain. Unexpected, the gray-haired man cleared his throat. Roman's face closed again. The door inside him locked. "Good night, Lena." Then he walked away. Lena stood alone on the rooftop with fireworks fading above the city and the taste of a stranger still on her mouth. The next morning, Sophie nearly dropped a tray of coffee when Lena told her, "You kissed who?" "I do not know." "Roman something." Sophie stared. Roman DeLuca. Lena was sitting at Sophie's kitchen table in sweatpants, Eli's toy train in one hand and Androgret in the other. "That sounds right." Sophie sat down slowly. "Lena, what?" "Roman DeLuca is not a financial consultant. I gathered that he owns the Grand Aurelia." Lena blinked. "Oh, and half the restaurants on the Lower East Side. Oh, and several shipping companies. Okay? And people say he runs the DeLuca family." Lena frowned. "The DeLuca family." Sophie leaned closer. "The Mafia family." The room went quiet. Eli, sitting on the floor, whispered, "Red train goes after blue train." Lena looked at him. Then back at Sophie. "I kissed a Mafia boss. Yes, I kissed a Mafia boss because I thought he was Mark from the app. Yes. And then I argued with him on a rooftop. Yes." Lena covered her face. "I am never leaving the house again." Sophie tried not to laugh. She failed. "It is not funny. It is a little funny. He could have had me thrown off the roof. He kissed you back. That is not better." "It is definitely better," Lena groaned. The doorbell rang before she could answer. Sophie stood. "If that is the Mafia, I am not dressed for it." It was not the Mafia. It was a hotel courier. He handed Lena a white box tied with black ribbon and left without waiting for a tip. Inside were white roses. Not red, white. Tucked beneath them was a card. "Forgive the mistaken identity. I do not forgive the kiss. R." Lena read it 3 times. Sophie looked over her shoulder and whispered, "That is not how financial consultants apologize." Lena placed the card on the table. No, but she was smiling. She hated that. For a week, nothing happened. No more flowers, no calls, no mysterious men outside her apartment. Lena told herself that was good. A man like Roman DeLuca belonged to another universe. A dangerous one. A wealthy one. A world of black cars, private rooms, and people who knew when to lower their voices. Lena's world was finger paint, grocery coupons, IEP meetings, and Eli refusing socks because the seam felt wrong. Then Friday came. Lena took Eli to the Metropolitan Children's Museum because they had a sensory-friendly evening once a month. The lights were dimmed. The music was off. Attendance was limited. Eli loved the transit exhibit most. He could stand for an hour, pressing buttons that made tiny subway trains move through plastic tunnels. That night, the museum had more guests than usual because a donor event was happening upstairs. Lena kept one hand near Eli's shoulder, watching for signs of overwhelm. He was doing well until the elevator doors opened. A group of donors poured out laughing too loudly. One woman's bracelet clattered against the metal railing. A man dropped a glass bottle. It shattered. Eli froze. Then his hands flew to his ears. "No," he whispered. Lena crouched instantly. "Eli, look at me. We can go to the quiet room." "No." His breathing sped up. The donors stared. One man muttered, "Someone should control that." That child. Lena's chest tightened with anger. But Eli came first. She reached for his headphones, but in the confusion, they slipped from her bag and hit the floor. Eli cried out. Not loud. Broken? That sound tore through her. Before she could pick them up, a shadow fell across the floor. The hallway went quiet. Roman DeLuca stood behind the donors. He wore a black overcoat, no tie, and an expression that made every adult in the hallway suddenly remember how to be silent. The man who had muttered took one step back. Roman did not look at him. He looked at Eli, then at Lena. "May I help?" Lena stared at him. This was not the rooftop. No champagne. No gold dress. No mistaken magic. This was real life, with her son shaking on a museum floor. "Do you know how?" she asked. Roman lowered himself slowly, not too close to Eli, not in front of him. Beside him. "I know not to touch without permission." That alone almost made Lena cry. Roman reached into his coat pocket and pulled out something small, a silver coin. He placed it on the floor between them and spun it gently. The coin turned in a smooth circle, flashing under the dim lights. Eli's eyes shifted toward it. Roman said nothing. He simply spun it again. Slower this time. Eli's breathing hitched, then followed the motion. Round and round. Predictable. Quiet. Safe. Lena watched in stunned silence as Roman took off his own black leather gloves and placed them on the floor near Eli. "Soft," he said. Eli reached out with 2 fingers and touched the glove. Then he touched it again. "Lambskin," Roman said. "No seam," Eli whispered. "No seam, no seam," Roman repeated. Lena picked up the headphones and placed them gently over Eli's ears. This time, he let her. The hallway remained silent, not because people were being kind, because Roman DeLuca was there. But Lena would take silence however it came. After a few minutes, Eli picked up the coin and handed it back to Roman. "Again," he said. Roman's face changed. Not much, but enough for Lena to see that one word had hit him somewhere deep. He spun the coin again. Eli watched, calm returning inch by inch. When it was over, Roman stood and turned slowly toward the man who had complained. "What did you say about the child?" The man went pale. "I did not mean anything. That is often what cowards say after meaning something." Lena stood quickly. Roman, his eyes moved to her. The anger did not disappear. It obeyed. That frightened her almost as much as it touched her. She shook her head once. "Not here." Roman looked at the man for one more second. Then he stepped back. "As you wish, as you wish." Not because anyone else commanded him, because she did. Later, in the museum's quiet room, Eli sat on a beanbag with the seam-free glove in his lap. Roman stood near the door, keeping distance. Lena folded her arms. "What are you doing here?" "I am a donor. To the Children's Museum." "Yes, of course you are." His mouth curved faintly. "You sound disappointed." I am trying to decide if this is sweet or alarming. Both may be fair. She wanted not to smile. She failed. Roman looked past her at Eli. He is remarkable. Lena's smile faded. Most people say he is difficult. Most people are lazy. That sentence landed with dangerous precision. Lena looked at him. You cannot say things like that and expect me not to like you. His gaze returned to her. Would that be so terrible? Yes, why? Because you are Roman DeLuca and that means men go quiet when you enter rooms. That means you have drivers and donors and probably enemies. That means you live in a world where people do not just get hurt emotionally. He did not deny it. She respected that more than she wanted to. You are right, he said. Lena had expected an argument. You are not going to tell me the rumors are false. No, are they? True, some, her heart pounded, and the rest. Worse. She looked away. Roman's voice softened. I will not lie to you. Lena, you lied on the terrace. I let you believe something wrong for 3 minutes. That is not my proudest moment. Why? He looked at her as if the answer costs him. Because for 3 minutes, you looked at me like I was only a man. The quiet room seemed to shrink. Around them? Eli hummed softly from the beanbag. Lena's anger loosened. Not gone, but changed. Roman continued. People look at me and see money, danger, opportunity, fear. You looked at me and complained that I was late. Despite herself, she laughed. You were late. I was not even expected. That makes it worse. This time, he almost smiled. Then Eli stood and walked toward him. Lena straightened. Roman did not move. Eli held out the glove. Yours? Roman took it carefully. Thank you. Eli looked at him for 1 second. Then said, Coin man. Roman blinked. Lena covered her mouth. Congratulations. You have been named. Is that good? For Eli, that is excellent. Roman looked down at the glove in his hand as if it had become something sacred. Then, I am honored. That was how it started. Not with a date. Not exactly. It started with Sunday morning at a sensory-friendly music class Roman somehow knew about because his younger cousin, Nico, attended. Nico was 9, autistic, nonverbal most days, and completely devoted to piano. Eli and Nico did not become instant friends. They became something quieter. They sat near each other. They exchanged instruments without eye contact. They tapped rhythm patterns on the floor. Roman watched as if witnessing a language he had been trying to learn his whole life. Lena watched Roman. That was the problem. He did not behave like the monster her common sense wanted him to be. He carried Eli's bag without making it a gesture. He remembered Eli disliked fluorescent lights. He never touched Lena's back in public unless she stepped close first. He asked questions and listened to the answers. He sent no more flowers after she said the first ones had overwhelmed her. Instead, one Tuesday, a package arrived with noise-reducing ear defenders and Eli's favorite shade of blue, and a note. For the museum? Only if useful. Lena wanted to be annoyed. Instead, she cried in the kitchen. By the 3rd Sunday, Roman asked her to coffee. By the 4th, Lena said yes. They met at a small cafe in Brooklyn that had a quiet room in the back. Roman had reserved it, but not the whole cafe. I am learning, he said when she noticed. Learning what not to make everything larger than it needs to be. Lena sat across from him. That must be difficult for a Mafia boss. His eyes sharpened slightly. You say that very directly. I teach preschool. I have no time for dramatic euphemisms. A laugh escaped him. It transformed his face so completely that Lena forgot what she had been about to say. There he was again. Not the boss. Not the feared DeLuca name. The man from the rooftop standing beneath fireworks. Looking almost lonely. Tell me something true, she said. Roman's smile faded. What kind of true? Not business. Not reputation. You. He looked at the untouched coffee between his hands. My father died when I was 20. Before that, I wanted to be a composer. Lena blinked. You write music. I did. Why did you stop? Because after he died, everyone needed me to become him. And did you? Roman's mouth hardened. In the ways that mattered to them. That is not an answer. It is the only one I have liked for 10 years. Lena's chest tightened. What happened to your mother? She left when I was 14. Or she escaped, depending on who tells the story. There was too much pain beneath the words for a coffee date. Lena understood that. So she did not pry. Instead, she said, I wanted to be a children's book illustrator. Roman looked up. Truly? Yes. Then Eli was born. And his father left before the hospital bracelet came off my wrist. I needed stable work. Teaching made sense. Do you still draw? Sometimes. Mostly lesson plan dinosaurs with feelings. I would like to see them. That is a very high privilege. I understand. They smiled at each other across the table. Lena felt something inside her begin to open. Then fear closed around it. Roman, I need to say this before anything becomes confusing. His expression turned serious. Say it. Eli comes first. Always. I cannot have someone enter his life casually and leave when it becomes inconvenient. I cannot be someone's escape from a cold penthouse or a rebellion against family expectations. My life is not glamorous. It is routines, therapy, appointments, meltdowns, laundry, and trying to make rent without crying in the grocery store. Roman listened without moving. So if this is curiosity, or guilt, or because I kissed you, when I thought you were someone else, we stop now. He was silent long enough for her heart to hurt. Then he said, my life is dangerous, complicated, and not clean enough for someone like you. Lena looked down. But, he continued, it is also empty in places I stopped noticing until you stood on that rooftop and spoke to me as if I could still be ordinary. Her eyes lifted. I do not want you as an escape, he said. I want to know whether there is room in your life for a man who is trying, very late, to become worthy of entering it. Lena's throat tightened. That is a dangerous sentence. Yes, you practiced that. No, if I had practiced, it would have sounded less desperate. She laughed softly. So did he. For the first time, coffee felt possible. But Roman's world did not stay outside for long. It entered through a woman named Lena DeLuca, Roman's grandmother. Everyone called her Donnavale. Never to her face, unless they had earned the right. She was 81, small, silver-haired, and terrifying in the way only old women who had survived brutal men could be terrifying. She summoned Lena to dinner without asking. Roman told Lena on a Thursday night, standing outside her apartment after walking her and Eli home from music class. She knows Lena knew immediately who he meant. Your grandmother, yes, she wants to meet you Sunday. That sounds less like an invitation, and more like a court order. It is, at least you are honest. Roman looked exhausted. I wanted more time, before she judged me, before she turned us into a family matter. Lena leaned against the building wall. Roman, you are a mafia boss. Everything about you is a family matter. His mouth twitched, then faded. She will be cruel if she thinks cruelty will protect the family. And what do you think? I think, if she wounds you, I may forget every lesson in restraint you have accidentally taught me. Lena's heart beat too fast. Do not make me responsible for your restraint. He absorbed that, then nodded. You are right, she softened. But I will go. You do not have to. No. I do. If this is real, I need to see the whole thing. Not just the quiet cafes and museum rooms. Roman looked at her for a long moment. It is real. The words were simple. The effect was not. Sunday dinner at the DeLuca estate felt like walking into a cathedral, built for judgment. The house sat behind black iron gates in Westchester, surrounded by winter trees and silent guards. It was not flashy. That made it more intimidating. Old stone, warm lights, security cameras hidden too well, a front door tall enough to make guests feel small. Lena wore a navy dress Sophie had helped her choose. Not gold, not fantasy. Something steady, Eli stayed with Lena's mother, though he cried when he realized Roman would not be at music class that morning. That almost broke Lena before dinner even began. Roman met her at the entrance. "You look beautiful. You look like you are walking me into a trial." "That is also true." He took her hand. Inside, the DeLuca family waited. Uncles, cousins, advisors, women with sharp jewelry and sharper eyes, men who smiled without warmth. At the head of the table sat Valentina DeLuca. She looked Lena over once. Only once. It was enough to feel like being opened and read. "So," Valentina said. "This is the teacher." Lena held her posture. "Yes, ma'am." "Lena Carter, I know your name." Of course she did. Roman's hand tightened under the table. Lena squeezed back once. A warning. Not here. Dinner began. It was elegant and unbearable. Roman's sister, Bianca, tried to be kind. She asked about Lena's classroom and smiled genuinely when Lena described Eli's obsession with train maps. Roman's cousin Nico sat at the far end with headphones on, tapping a rhythm on his plate with 2 fingers. Every time the sound grew too loud, Valentina's mouth tightened. Lena noticed. So did Roman. Halfway through dinner, Valentina set down her wine glass. "Miss Carter," the table went quiet. Lena looked up. "Yes. Roman tells me you have a child." "Yes." "Eli autistic." Roman's jaw tightened. Lena kept her voice calm. "Yes. That must make your life difficult." The words were polite. The meaning was not. Lena placed her fork down. "My life can be difficult. Eli is not the reason." Bianca hid a smile. Valentina did not. "You speak well. I teach for. I have experience with difficult audiences." Roman coughed once into his napkin. Valentina's eyes sharpened. A few cousins looked down at their plates. "You understand," Valentina continued, "that Roman's life is not simple. His name carries weight. Enemies. Obligations. He cannot afford emotional distractions." Lena felt every eye on her. There it was. Distraction. The word women like her were always given when powerful families wanted them removed politely. "I agree," Lena said. Roman looked at her. Valentina looked faintly surprised. "Do you?" "Yes. He cannot afford distractions. He needs truth." "That is different." The room changed. Slightly. Lena continued before fear could stop her. "I do not know your world. I do not pretend to. But I know what it looks like when a child is treated like an inconvenience. I know what it looks like when a man performs strength because everyone around him is invested in his silence. I know what loneliness does to people when no one calls it by name." Valentina went still. Lena's voice softened. "Roman does not need me to distract him. He needs a place where he does not have to be the DeLuca name every second of the day." Roman's hand had gone motionless in hers. Valentina leaned back. "You think you know my grandson?" "No," Lena said. "I think I am beginning to." That was when Nico dropped his fork. The sharp sound cracked across the table. Several people flinched. Nico's hands flew to his ears. His humming became distressed. A man near him muttered, "Not again." Lena moved before thinking. She stood, walked around the table, and crouched several feet from Nico. Not too close. Roman rose halfway. Lena shook her head. "Wait." She took a sugar packet from the table and slid it gently toward Nico. Then another. Then a third. She lined them in a small train. White, brown, white. Nico's breathing hitched. His eyes moved to the pattern. Lena whispered, "Can I add a tunnel?" Nico did not answer, but he stopped rocking. She folded a napkin into a small arch and placed it ahead of the sugar packets. Nico touched it once, then moved a sugar packet through the tunnel. The entire DeLuca family watched in silence. Lena did not look at them. She stayed with Nico. After a few minutes, he pushed one sugar packet toward her. An invitation. A communication. A bridge. Lena smiled. "Thank you." Valentina's face changed. For 1 second, she looked less like a matriarch and more like an old woman who had been ashamed of not knowing how to help a child she loved. Roman saw it too. After dinner, Valentina asked to speak with Lena alone. Roman refused instantly. No. Lena touched his arm. It is fine. It may not be. I can handle an old woman with espresso. Valentina's eyebrow lifted. Roman looked between them and muttered something in Italian before leaving the sitting room. Valentina poured coffee into 2 tiny cups. You are brave, she said. I am nervous. Same thing. Sometimes. Lena accepted the cup. Valentina sat across from her. Nico has not allowed a stranger near him in years. He allowed a pattern near him. I was just holding it. Valentina looked toward the doorway where Nico had disappeared. When my daughter had him, I thought love would be enough. It was not. We did not understand him. The men grew impatient. The women grew sad. Everyone learned to lower expectations. That is not love, Lena said, quietly. That is grief wearing love's clothes. Valentina's eyes flashed. You speak boldly in another woman's house. I speak from experience. For a long moment, neither looked away. Then Valentina sighed. Roman's mother left because this family swallowed every soft thing in her. Lena went still. He was 14, Valentina said. He never forgave her, but I think he also never forgave us. Why tell me? Because you will. Either leave before this family hurts you, or you will stay in and make him want things he cannot have without breaking old bones. Lena looked down at the coffee. I am not trying to take him from you. No, Valentina said. That is why you are dangerous. If you were greedy, I could buy you. If you were foolish, I could scare you. But you are neither. Lena did not know whether that was praise or threat. Maybe both. Valentina leaned forward. My grandson is the head of a dangerous house. Do not mistake tenderness for freedom from blood. I do not. And if he chooses you, there will be consequences. Lena's voice came out steady. Then he has to choose with his eyes open. Roman did choose. Not all at once. Not with one dramatic speech. He chose in pieces. He chose when he stopped hiding Sunday mornings with Lena and Eli. He chose when he brought Eli a handmade subway map carved in wood by an old artisan who owed him a favor. He chose when he told his men that Lena's apartment building was not to be touched, watched, entered, or controlled without her permission. He chose when a rival family sent flowers to Lena's school as a warning and Roman did not respond with public violence, because Lena asked him not to bring fear to her classroom. Instead, he responded with information. Quiet. Legal. Devastating. The rival's construction permits collapsed within 48 hours. Did you destroy a man with paperwork? Lena asked when she found out. Roman looked almost proud. You dislike bloodshed. I also dislike being used as a symbol in Mafia chess. I know, and I am learning new chess. That was the problem. He was learning. And Lena was falling in love with the man beneath the power. The man who hummed old Italian lullabies when Eli grew overwhelmed. The man who once spent 40 minutes lying on the floor beside Eli. Both of them staring up at the ceiling fan because Eli said the shadows looked like train tracks. The man who admitted he still wrote music but never played it for anyone. The man who looked at Lena's old sketches and said, You draw children as if they are already heroes. She fell slowly. Then all at once, the real test came 3 months after the gala. Lena's school received an anonymous donation large enough to renovate the entire sensory room. She knew Roman was behind it before the principal finished the sentence. That evening she arrived at his penthouse, furious. You cannot keep buying solutions. Roman stood beside the piano near the window, sleeves rolled, sheet music spread before him. I did not put my name on it. That is not the point. It helps the children, yes. And it makes me look like I am sleeping with a man for school funding. His face changed. Cold entered the room. Who said that? Lena closed her eyes. That is exactly the problem. Roman went silent. She stepped closer. You hear pain and immediately look for someone to punish. I need you to hear me first. He absorbed the words like a physical blow. Then slowly, he sat on the piano bench. I am listening. Lena's anger softened, but did not vanish. I love that you want to help. I do. But when you move money behind my back, you take away my choice. I have spent years building a life where we're Eli and I survive without owing anyone our dignity. Roman's voice was low. I never meant to make you feel bought. I know. That is why I am here instead of gone. He looked up. Fear moved across his face before he could hide it. It was the first time Lena understood how much power had failed to protect him from abandonment. I am sorry, he said. No defense. No pride. Just the words. She sat beside him. Ask me next time, I will. And Roman, yes, if you want to build something for children like Eli and Nico, do it with me. Not around me. His eyes lifted to hers. With you, yes, what would you build? The answer came before she could stop it. A place where children are not forced to become easier before they are loved. Roman did not speak. He turned to the piano and played 3 notes. Soft, low, searching, then a fourth. A melody began, uncertain but beautiful. Lena listened. What is that? I do not know yet then. Keep going, he did. That night, the idea was born. A music and sensory center for neurodivergent children. Not a charity room for photographs. A real place. Soft lights. Quiet rooms. Trained therapists. Music studios. Parent support. Scholarships. A program where children could communicate through sound, rhythm, drawing, movement, or silence. Lena wrote the educational framework. Roman found the building. Bianca designed the interior. Nico tested the piano room. Eli chose the train mural. Valentina opposed it for exactly 9 days. Then she arrived with a check and a warning. If my name goes on a donor wall, I will deny everything. Lena smiled. Yes, ma'am. But Roman's world did not surrender him easily. The attack came from within. His uncle, Salvatore DeLuca, had spent years believing Roman was becoming too soft, too legitimate, too distracted by a teacher and her child. When Roman shifted money from certain old businesses into the sensory center and then legal enterprises, Salvatore saw weakness. He also saw opportunity. The night of the center's private preview, Lena arrived with Eli in a blue sweater and noise-canceling headphones. The building smelled of fresh paint, wood, and possibility. A sign near the entrance read, "The Carter DeLuca Center for Music and Sensory Learning." Lena cried when she saw it. Roman pretended not to notice because he knew she hated crying in public. Eli ran straight to the train mural. Nico sat at the piano and pressed one key over and over, smiling at the vibration. For 1 hour, everything felt almost perfect. Then the lights went out. Not a normal outage. Too clean. Too sudden. Emergency lights glowed red. Eli froze. Across the room, Nico covered his ears. Roman's men moved instantly. Lena found Roman's eyes through the dimness. Something was wrong. A phone buzzed in Roman's hand. He read the message. His face became the man the city feared. What is it? Lena asked. His voice was quiet. Salvatore. Another message came. Choose the family, or the teacher loses the center. Lena's stomach turned. Roman looked toward the exit. For one terrifying moment, she saw the old instinct rise in him. War? Retaliation? Blood answering insult. She stepped in front of him. Look at me. His eyes were black in the red light. Lena, look at me first. She pointed to Eli and Nico, both struggling with the sudden change, both needing calm more than vengeance. This is what he wants. He wants you to become the man he understands. Roman's jaw flexed. He threatened you. He threatened a building because he knows he cannot understand what we are building inside it. Another buzz. This time, Bianca read the message aloud from her phone. Security breach in East Wing. Roman moved. Lena caught his hand. Not alone, this is dangerous, I know. You should take Eli and leave now. You do not get to build a new world with me only when it is beautiful. The words struck him. Around them, emergency lights washed the hallway red. Roman looked at her hand holding his. Then he looked at Eli. Then Nico. Then the mural of trains moving through painted tunnels toward a bright city. When he spoke, His voice was deadly calm. Bianca, take the children to the quiet room. Emil, lock the south corridor. No weapons near the therapy wing, unless I give the order. Lena stays with me. His men stared for half a second, then obeyed. Not because they understood, because Roman had spoken. Together, Lena and Roman reached the east wing. They found Salvatore in the unfinished donor hall, surrounded by 3 loyal men and a wall of shattered glass display cases. He was older than Roman, thick-necked, gray at the temples, with eyes full of contempt. This is what you have become, Salvatore said. A king building playrooms. Roman stepped forward. Lena stayed beside him. Salvatore's eyes moved to her, and there she is. The little teacher who made the wolf forget his teeth. Roman's hand tightened. Lena spoke first. No. I reminded him he had a choice. Salvatore laughed. You think choice built this family? Blood built it. Fear built it. Men stronger than you built it. And look how terrified you are of children having a safe room, Lena said. His smile vanished. Roman almost laughed. Almost. Salvatore turned back to him. Walk away from her. Walk away from this charity nonsense, or every man in our circle will know you chose lullabies over loyalty. Roman was silent. Lena's heart pounded. This was the choice the source story had always been moving toward. Though her life was not a romance novel and this was not a clean moment, Roman could choose power as it had been handed to him, or power as he wanted to redefine it. He looked at Salvatore, then at Lena, then toward the quiet room where Eli and Nico waited. Finally, he said, you mistake cruelty for strength because no one ever taught you the difference. Salvatore's eyes narrowed. Roman continued. This center opens tomorrow. The money stays. The children stay. Lena stays. And you leave the family tonight. The room went completely still. Salvatore laughed once. You cannot remove me. I already did. Bianca entered behind him, holding a tablet. She looked furious and elegant. Your accounts are frozen. Your men have been paid out and dismissed. The evidence of your side agreements with the Bellucci family is already with the people who need it. Salvatore's face went gray. Roman looked at Emil. Escort him out. Salvatore lunged forward, but his own men did not move. That was when he understood. Roman had not become weak. He had become patient, and patient power was far more dangerous. As Salvatore was taken out, he spat one last sentence. She will ruin you. Roman looked at Lena. No, he said. She found me. The center opened the next morning. No press. No speeches at first. Just families walking through the doors with tired eyes and cautious hope. A mother cried when her daughter entered the music room without covering her ears. A father sat on the floor when his son did, because for the first time someone told him he was allowed. Nico played 3 notes on the piano. Eli added a 4th on a small xylophone. Roman stood beside Lena with shadows under his eyes and something like peace in his face. Valentina arrived late. She walked through the center slowly, touching nothing. When she reached the piano room, Nico looked up and patted the bench beside him. Valentina froze, then sat. Nico pressed one key, then waited. Valentina pressed the next. It was not music yet, but it was a beginning. Lena felt Roman take her hand. Do you see? She whispered. Yes, what? He looked around at the children, the parents, the therapists, his sister, his grandmother Eli, Nico, and the life forming in a place that had almost become another battlefield. That power can build something. Lena leaned against him. Yes, a year later, Roman proposed on the same rooftop where Lena had mistaken him for another man. No crowd, no midnight countdown, no champagne courage. Just the winter garden, the city lights, and Eli sitting nearby with a sketchbook, drawing Roman as a train conductor because he said Roman made safe stations. Roman knelt. Lena covered her mouth. Roman, I know you do not need rescuing, he said. I know you do not need my name, my money, or my protection to be whole. Her eyes filled. But I would like to spend my life being invited into yours. Not as a boss. Not as a shield. As a man who loves you, loves Eli, and wants to build every next room with you. Eli looked up from his drawing. Say yes. Lena laughed through tears. Eli, coin man is good. Roman's mouth trembled. He still carried the silver coin. Years later, he would say that. That was the moment he almost lost all dignity. Lena looked at the man before her. The Mafia boss? The composer? The wounded boy who had become a feared man because no one had given him another language for power. The stranger she had kissed by mistake. The man who learned her son's world, not as a favor, but as an honor. Yes, she whispered. Roman closed his eyes. When he opened them, he looked almost young. They married quietly. As quietly as a DeLuca wedding could be, which meant 3 security teams, 200 guests, and Valentina arguing with the florist like national peace depended on white roses. Sophie cried through the entire ceremony. Bianca gave a speech that made Roman threaten to disown her and then hug her for too long. Eli walked Lena down the aisle, wearing headphones and carrying the silver coin in his pocket for courage. At the reception, Roman played piano, not for the room. For Lena, a melody he had started the night they first imagined the center. Soft, patient, full of open spaces. Eli sat beside him and added random notes. Nico joined with one hand. The song became imperfect, then perfect in the only way that mattered. Years passed. The Carter DeLuca Center grew into 3 buildings, then 5. Lena left classroom teaching and Ben became program director, training educators to stop asking children to become easier and start asking what made the world too hard. Roman moved more of the DeLuca money into legitimate businesses, not because love made him innocent, but because love made certain kinds of darkness harder to tolerate. There were still enemies, still guarded doors, still nights when old violence tried to call him home. But there were also Sunday mornings with pancakes shaped like trains, therapy graduations where Roman pretended not to cry, late nights when Lena drew children's books at the kitchen table, while Roman composed beside her. Valentina eventually became the center's fiercest defender, though she still claimed she had only supported it because the piano room had good acoustics. One summer evening, years after the rooftop kiss, Lena found Roman standing in the doorway of Eli's room. Eli was 10 now, asleep beneath a weighted blanket. One hand curled around a wooden train Roman had carved badly but proudly. Lena slipped beside him. You are quiet. Roman nodded. He called me Dad today. Lena's heart stopped for one beat. He did. In the car. He said, Dad, take the tunnel. It is faster. Roman's voice broke slightly on the word. Lena took his hand. That is big. Yes. Are you okay? He looked at Eli sleeping peacefully. Then at Lena. I have been feared by men who would never kneel to anyone. I have signed deals that changed half the city. I have survived betrayals, funerals, wars, and my own name, he swallowed. But nothing has ever undone me like that. That child trusting me with one word. Lena leaned her head against his shoulder. That is love. Roman closed his eyes. I know that now. Later that night, they stood on their own balcony while the city glittered around them. No fireworks. No mistaken identity. No countdown. Just the quiet life they had built from impossible beginnings. Do you ever regret it? Lena asked. Meeting you, choosing this, choosing us. It cost you. Roman turned to her. I did not choose you over power. No. I chose the first kind of power that ever made me want to be better. Lena smiled. That is dangerously romantic. I learned from a preschool teacher. She sounds impressive. She kissed a mafia boss thinking he was a financial consultant, a temporary lapse in judgment. The best one of my life, Lena laughed. Roman pulled her close. Below them, the city moved through darkness and light, danger and beauty, old wounds and new beginnings. Once, Lena had believed one kiss could not change a life. She had been right. The kiss did not change everything. Not by itself. What changed everything was what came after. A man who stayed, a child who was understood, a woman who stopped apologizing for the life she came with, a family that had to break in order to become something better, and a love powerful enough to teach a mafia boss that the strongest thing he could ever build was not an empire. It was a safe place to come home to.